Well guys, this is it. We finally made our way to the final mansion in the game, known as Treacherous Mansion. And hopefully we can able to claim ourselves the final piece of the Dark Moon until we've somehow restored the Dark Moon itself. Hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Maxi here once again, and I am back for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Luigi's Mansion 2, aka Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon for those of you who lived in North America, for the Nintendo 3DS/Nintendo Switch, as we are still playing through Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. So, last time, we essentially did manage to wrap things up everything in Secret Mine by not only tackle through the boss mission, which appears to be Chilly Ride, as well as that, we also did manage to tackle through the extra mission as well. So ultimately though, we actually did those two missions really dang well, and usually relatively speaking, we somehow claim ourselves the next piece of the Dark Moon. So it all comes down to one last piece remaining, and so we, as we said this before, fully restored the Dark Moon itself. And as a result though, yeah, everything else checks out there. So today for this video is that we're about to be exploring into the fifth and the final mansion in the entire game. That's what it appears to be, as I said before, Treacherous Mansion. And from the look of it though, it does look pretty interesting. And not to mention though, this particular mansion itself is going to be a lot larger compared to the forms of how it does on the previous mansions as we somehow explored. So this means about the fact that when it comes to the later missions we're about to be tackling through, certain missions can go by a lot more lengthy this time around, because there might be multitude of rooms we can explore, and not to mention though is about the fact that hopefully we can able to be collecting the final 13 gems as far as I'm aware, because as far as I'm aware we can able to actually hunt down for the final Dark Moon piece. So yeah, let's get to it with the very first mission in Treacherous Mansion. That's what it appears to be mission E-1, front door key. So either way, let's go ahead and hop into this mission. So either way, oh yeah, a few things I want to talk about is about the fact that, well, today's date of course there is the 7th of October today, in some cases in 2024 today. First of all, I would like to point things out with the forms of the honorable mentions with this particular discussion about this. Not so much so, happy 8th anniversary of the game's release of Mario Party Star Rush for the Nintendo 3DS, which I can't even believe that game has been out for 8 years now, despite the fact that it's kind of hard for me to go back into the game these days now, because as far as I'm aware, I'm pretty much more accustomed to the forms of not only Super Mario Party, despite what the forms of the Joy-Cons is required, and on top of that with Mario Party Superstars, and eventually at some point, that we've only got about 10 more days to go until Super Mario Party Jamboree is going to be releasing, and as far as I'm aware, only 4 more days to go until Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is also going to be releasing as well, so it's going to be releasing specifically on this Friday, so I'm expected to be excited for it. It's kind of unfortunate though still about the fact that we still don't have the PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X for that matter. So, and also as far as I'm aware, we've only got about 18 more days to go until Sonic X Shadow Generations is expected to be releasing as well. And finally, most notably though, we've only got about exactly 1 month left, or technically speaking though, only 31 more days to go until Mario Luigi Brothership is going to be releasing for the Nintendo Switch. And as far as I'm aware, Mario Luigi Brothership will definitely have to be my final pre-order item I can probably expect to get during the forms of in 2024 before we move on to 2025. So relatively speaking though, yeah, I just seriously cannot wait about the fact that 2024 is almost going to be over before we move on to 2025 for sure. So yeah, this mansion is huge, especially concerning for the fact that my guess is about the fact that we can able to actually traverse into quite a lot of rooms in that particular mansion itself. Now before we get into the forms of the front door actually, we need to head back onto the specific spot right here, just to ensure for the fact that we can able to activate the straw bulb right at the forms of those gargoyles right there. So just to ensure we can able to actually obtain some more money. As well as on that though, I get the strong feeling about the fact that there might be something missing around here, which as a result, if we use the dark light device right here, it's able to actually reveal the 5th gargoyle right there. And what's inside it, you may ask? Well, after we somehow reveal it first of all, and from here we get even more cash, including with the forms of gold bar, and on top of that, more money notes at the same time. So, and yeah, before we get into the actual mansion itself though, much like the forms of how it does it on some segments, when it comes to not only Gloomy Manor, but as well as Old Clockworks, and of course, Secret Mine, we have to deal with the forms of motion controls by simply trying to go for that little balancing segment right there. And yeah, it is incredibly dangerous down there. So, thankfully though, with my sturdy hands, I should be able to actually deal with this part no problem. So, and somehow, after this particular last balance thing right there, then sure enough, we'll make our way to that particular front door itself. And that is a very close call, which I'm almost assuming about the fact that we're about to get screwed up right there. But either way, there are some more gargoyles to be strolled bulb with, so just to ensure for the fact that if you really want to discover even more secrets from here and there, and yeah, everything else will become together. So either way, after all, we've already got the key, so naturally speaking, we can now able to actually proceed inside the treacherous mansion itself.
Hey! Bad doggy. Yeah.
Well, that's just great. We somehow lost our front key, so this means we can't able to actually go inside the treacherous mansion itself. So we need to able to start looking for the poacher pup, because apparently though, much like the forms of how it does in Haunted Towers, it may look like about the fact that the poacher pup himself did somehow steal the key from us. So, but before we start searching for the poacher pup himself, we need to quickly have a peek through for that particular window right there, and it may look like those boos are up to no good, including that familiar voice in that particular left side of that particular part. So we'll discuss more about that if we somehow manage able to get onto the next mission perhaps. So, but either way though, yeah, let's get this thing to it with the actual mission itself, because like I said this before, we need to get our front key back, thanks to the forms of the poacher pup himself. And in fact, I think, suffice to say, this might actually be the final time we can able to start actually dealing with trying to find the poacher pup in the actual mission objective, because potentially speaking, I was about the fact that after all, we're now in the final mansion in the game, of course. So anyway though, speaking of which though, when it comes to Super Mario Party Jamboree actually, that basically though, we actually got ourselves some even more information about that game. Like for instance, the actual English name of the single player mode, which actually is got revealed, now is going to be called Party Planner Trek, which obviously helps set up for the party. So that's going to be you know, kind of like a similar gameplay style as the forms of Shroom City from Mario Party Advance. But hopefully though, that particular mode will be a lot more fleshed out compared to the forms of how it does on Mario Party Advance to me though. Because thankfully though, we're no longer in a car, so potentially speaking and also we don't have to worry about the forms of the dice block rolls as well. And right there, as you can see, we actually stumbled across into yet another gold greenie right there, to able to actually get ourselves some more money and all that stuff. Oh yes, money. Anyways though, Also, I did somehow manage to able to found out about the fact that when it comes to the forms of the amount of minigames we can able to come across into with each and every single category, that for instance though, is about the fact I did somehow manage to discover when it comes to the forms of motion controlled minigames as far as I'm aware, it has a grand total of 15 motion controlled minigames, not counting the forms of the rhythm minigames as far as I'm aware. Like for instance, is about the fact that they somehow got 7 free-for-all motion-controlled minigames, or technically nowadays 4-player minigames, and there's also 2 1 versus 3 minigames that utilizes motion controls, and there's also going to be 3 2 versus 2 minigames that heavily utilizes motion controls here and there, so... And if I recall correctly, there's going to be 1 dual minigame that utilizes motion controls, and there's also going to be 1 for the item minigame, and finally 1 of them for the showdown minigame that you have to recruit with the Jamboree Buddy. And speaking of the Jamboree Buddies, as far as I did manage to find out, the amount of minigames we can able to come across into in total when it comes to showdown minigames, where you have to able to recruit with the actual Jamboree Buddies, like I said this before, I believe there are a grand total of 10 minigames, which as a result, 1 of them is for Mario, 1 of them for Luigi, 1 of them from Peach, 1 for Daisy, 1 for Yoshi, 1 for Wario and Waluigi, Rosalina, Donkey Kong, and Bowser Jr. So, yeah, there's only going to be 10 Jamboree Buddies in that particular game, especially concerning for the fact that, well, I was assuming about the fact that they'll try to bring more, well, actually, as it turns out about the fact that 10 is the only maximum we can get up to when it comes to the Jamboree Buddy system. So, either way, though, that's saying something. So, and also, as far as I'm aware, is about the fact that when it comes to the forms of Party Planet Trek that I mentioned this earlier, I believe you only have to experience 5 boards during the forms of the single-player campaign, just to ensure for the fact that we can only experience new boards rather than retro boards. So, I guess that's that. And it's also worth noting for, actually, is about the fact that when it comes to the 3 unlockable boards in Super Mario Party Jamboree, which is, of course, Western Land, Mario's Rainbow Castle, and finally King Bowser's Keep. Thankfully though, those boards are unlockable being the forms of the achievement system. So because of that though, because I somehow discovered this ever since during the forms have been in new preview videos as been shown. So at the very least, I'd fully appreciate about this, especially unlike the forms of how it does it on any other Mario Party games, that in order able to actually unlock certain boards in a Mario Party games past, that you have to complete the forms within a single player campaign. Like for example, in well, let's just say we'll go all the way back to the beginning, actually, when it comes to discussing upon unlockable boards in general, like back in Mario Party 1. In Mario Party 1, it only has 2 unlockable boards, which is Bowser's Magma Mountain and Eternal Star. And basically though, you have to deal with the forms of not only trying to play through 6 regular boards once, and you have to pay the ridiculous amount of coins until you're able to actually unlock Bowser's Magma Mountain. And meanwhile, you have to do a lot of grinding when it comes to obtaining 100 stars, and then you were able to actually unlock the final board in Mario Party 1, which is of course Eternal Star. And when it comes to Mario Party 2 though, there's only 1 unlockable board, and it's pretty self-explanatory. You simply play through each board, or specifically though, 5 main boards, not counting the forms of Rose Lands because it's how to play introducing thing. And as far as I'm aware though, you would soon able to actually unlock Bowser Land, and as a result though, it's a pretty simple process. And when it comes to Mario Party 3 though, you able to actually unlock 2 boards with 2 different modes. Well, technically 1 for each board with 2 modes specifically. Like for the dual board, we have Backtrack, and then the other one, which appears to be Waluigi's Island for Battle Royale maps. And as a result though, you're simply just trying to go through story mode at least once, and that's all you really have to do for that point. Oh my goodness, those things are alive! But thankfully though, we've already dealt with them thanks to the forms of that rug that we have to suck up. So basically though, in order able to deal with the forms of those alive armor guards, is that basically though, that's how the rock decides to come in. So as soon as he steps onto the rock, basically though, it's your chance to able to pull the rock, and then you simply able to make him tip over, and as a result though, the ones responsible for this is of course greenies, just like the forms of how it does it for the mummies ever since in Old Clockworks. So yeah, that's what I can really think about this, I guess. So, anyways though, there's also another thing worth mentioning for, in regards to the forms of some more information about the forms of Super Mario Party Jamboree, that they somehow managed able to get ourselves a bunch of stuff they somehow mentioned about, in regards to the forms of pro rolls, as far as the forms of how that thing translates to, which appears to be by the forms of likely a competitive side of things. Although, before I get into more details about this though, as you can see, we ended up on this very familiar territory right here, which as a result, it does remind me of experiencing Lost Woods from the Legend of Zelda games. So basically, in this part right here, we need to figure out... Oh jeez, there was a gold frog right there. Okay, good thing I somehow spotted that. So basically though, we need to follow the exact correct route, because otherwise, if you choose the wrong route, basically though, you have to start all over at the beginning. But there are certain secrets that we can able to find around here, somewhere. Like, for instance though, there is going to be some gold bars right at the specific part right there. So... unless if you try to use the dark light right here, basically though is about the fact that if you do manage to keep in track of where the portrait pub was, then exponentially though you will able to actually find the correct routes. So yeah, let me just quickly go back into the beginning portion of this segment again, just to ensure for the fact that I need to try to find specific parts to it. So... but anyways though, back into what I was saying about the forms of the Mario Party Pro rolls as far as competitive modus is concerned. Well, as far as I'm aware, they did mention about the fact that the number of turns you have to set up for is going to be fixed at 12 turns. So, and there's only going to be one bonus star in that particular rolls. And as far as I'm aware, it's going to be usually, it has like 3 different randomly selected bonus stars as far as I'm aware. Like Sightseer bonus, or Eventful bonus, and Slowpoke bonus. So, yeah, I think that's just what I was expecting for this point. And also, they did manage to able to bring up some slight changes with the forms of certain spaces they somehow affected with. Like, for instance, with the Lucky Space, you can only select up to 2 different followings, which is 10 coins bonus and the double dice item. And when it comes to Unlucky Space though, is about the fact that you always have to able to give 7 coins to the last placed player. Which was pretty punishing if you do manage to land on it though. But anyway, before I talk more about the forms of the pro rolls they somehow revealed for Super Mario Party Jamboree, it may look like the stronger variants of those greenies are working at something, which as a result though, thankfully that's not going to happen, because obviously though we can simply capture them. So either way, including a stronger variant of that particular sneaker right there, so chances are though, everything else will be good to go at this point. So... now, before I continue, on the other hand, I get the strong feeling there might be a gem somewhere in this room, and by simply it's about the fact that we can able to become the creator of the Frankenstein kind of syndrome or something, and as a result though, oh wait a second, there's a boo in here. Okay, I'm almost assuming about the fact that there might be a gem in here, but no, it's just a boo. So, good thing we somehow checked until now anyway, so, and in fact that no matter what though, is about the fact that we are almost done capturing every single boost in the entire game so far. Although potentially speaking, I was about the fact, I get the feeling about the fact that we're going back on to, I would say 5 boos needs to be captured or something, but then again though, we'll talk more about the forms of other missions until for later days to come, or to be more specifically than ever, it will be Mondays and Fridays from now on, because like what Silver and Joy has already mentioned about this before, including Sonic the Hedgehog as well, that obviously though, that the uploading schedules with Luigi's Mansion 2, or Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon if you lived in North America. In addition to that though, with The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening Remake, the uploading schedules will switch around a little bit. So either way, so as you can see, we got ourselves the first gem in Treacherous mansion. And as far as the color choice we've got this time around, it appears to be gray, almost representing diamonds kind of color scheme or something. So either way, speaking of which, actually, when it comes to the forms of the maximum amount of turns you can set up to in Super Mario Party Jamboree, well, suffice to say though, much like the forms of how it does it in one of those boards in Super Mario Party, which is of course the chemic board and all that stuff, alongside with the forms of the majority of Mario Party Superstars, the maximum amount of turns you can only get up to is once again 30. So as a result though, there's nothing new around here, aside from the fact that, well, also for I've heard anyway, when it comes to bonus stars options, you can able to actually select them like on or off, or even put on classic feature, just like the forms of how it does it on Mario Party Superstars or something. Well, I suppose we'll find out more about it until 10 days for now. So, fundamentally speaking, though, it's about the fact that I'm still really excited about that game still, especially concerning for the fact that it has been a very long while since I actually have last played anything Mario Party related since, well, recently though, I've recently managed able to play through Super Mario Party on my spare own time for a bit, just to look back on it though, and until by that time until on this Thursday coming up, which appears to be the 10th of October, basically though, I'm also able to actually look back on Mario Party Superstars before the, you know, Super Mario Party Jamboree will be releasing during that time. So, anyway though, speaking of which though, when it comes to Mario Luigi Brothership, as far as I'm aware, that I did somehow manage able to find out in GameStop in Canada that they're expected able to get themselves a nice little pre-order bonus item, which appears to be a double-sided slipcover, which does feature not only Mario, but as well as Luigi on the other side. So, pretty cool though. Although it's kind of unfortunate, it's only exclusive to GameStop in Canada, so chances are though is about the fact that hopefully you guys might able to actually receive it until when that game is going to be releasing, until just about a month left. So, and meanwhile, on the subject for this matter though, it may look like we're also going to be able to expect to get something cool with Mario Luigi Brothership. If you're assuming you do manage to pre-order the game, you were able to actually get yourselves the, well, let's just say a pretty cool steelbook case that features also Mario Luigi. So yeah, that's actually pretty cool and dope and everything. So anyways though, also, for I've heard anyway, about the fact that things doesn't go look too good, especially concerning when it comes to My Little Pony fans. And as a result though, yeah, it may look like until specifically around the exact same time as when Super Mario Party Jamboree is going to be releasing. Apparently though, that My Little Pony Tale is officially come to a close until specifically though, until the 17th of October. And as a result though, new episodes will be aired weekly until the 17th of October in this year. So no matter what though, yeah, it may look like it's going to be game over for G5. And as a result though, I'm really hoping about the fact that the final episodes will not go onto the stupid cliffhanger thing, because if it does though, I'm just simply going to have to be a little bit more criticizing for G5 as a result. Because I'm sorry to say this, but G5 is overall not that great in my opinion. I mean, it does have some interesting moments, don't get me wrong, but it's just about the fact that I just felt a bit so disappointed with that particular generation as a result. Well, that's just me. So anyway, for that particular topic, can't wait though, especially concerning for the fact that it's already too early to able to actually mention about this right about now. Although, fortunately enough though, is about the fact that recently though, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom has recently won a reward, which appears to be based off from Grand Award at 2024 Japan Game Awards. So yeah, that's actually really good, especially concerning for the fact that that game has received really well, especially concerning for the fact that it almost trying to able to actually catch us up with the forms of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild sales numbers. But I'm sure enough that was about the fact that we'll hear more about the forms of the updated game sales in June at some point until November at some point. So, anyway. Oh, and by the way, something's worth noting for if you're the bronies out there. Recently though, it's been 10 years ago since My Little Pony Equestria Girls Rainbow Rocks has came out ever since in 2014. Although despite the fact I haven't watched that film, well, that's just mainly because I'm more accustomed to pony forms of the actual specific characters themselves to me though. Well, mind you, it's probably because I haven't exactly watched too much of Equestria Girls as much, but that's just because it's not my cup of tea or anything, and oh jeez, I did not expect I wasn't gonna do that, but either way, there has to be specific with this spot right here. So anyway, and also, not to mention though, is about the fact that we actually got ourselves some more confirmation for the sake of the forms of the upcoming DVD releases, both of which are Despicable Me 4, as well as the forms of Deadpool and Wolverine. For Deadpool and Wolverine, at least specifically the UK version specifically though, I think it's about to come out at some point on the 4th of November, at least specifically on the UK version, on Monday. And meanwhile, for Despicable Me 4, it somehow is going to be confirmed for its DVD release until, let's just say, until the 28th of October, which is also going to be on Monday. So, roughly about 3 days after Sonic X Shadow Generations will be coming out during that time. So, yeah, you get the gist of it. So, also, there might be some mushrooms that we can able to suck up with, and fundamentally speaking, we can able to look around on this particular spot here to able to get even more money from that particular segment right here, and yeah, everything else checks out there. So anyway, also about the fact that one thing I did not expect about the fact that apparently though we're about to be getting an arcade game for Angry Birds at some point until later this year, which appears to be Angry Birds Boom. And kind of thinking about it though, it's like a shooting kind of game, which as a result though, it seems kind of cool and everything, especially concerning for the fact that we're able to actually get ourselves the arcade conversion of Angry Birds we all pretty much used to at that point. So, and as far as I'm aware though, about the fact that, yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting to say the least. So, anyways though, and also as far as I'm aware, when it comes to Despicable Me 4 DVD release, including 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray, as well as the forms of Blu-ray as well, I think it might also contain 2 mini movies, as far as I'm aware, in the bonus features category, which there are Game Over and Over, and there's also Benny's Birthday. So yeah, I guess that's that. And when it comes to other bonuses, they might actually contain, like for instance, deleted scenes, despicable dialogue, meet the cast, making of Mega Minion Mayhem, and Rogues Gallery, and how to draw. So yeah, I guess that's all the extra features they'll somehow contain. So either way, and also as far as I'm aware, I unfortunately did not get myself my glorious 3-star gold medal, but that's okay though, because I can simply just try to get that on my spare own time. So either way, so yeah, that pretty much does it for the first mission in Treacherous Mansion. And like I stated before, the later missions in Journey forms within Treacherous Mansion will go by a much longer, especially concerning for the fact that we've got a couple of gems though, luckily, although as far as I'm aware, until in the later missions though, we have to do multiple stuff at once. So either way, so let's go ahead and put up the forms of, well, some more gems, including the 19th booth that we somehow captured so far. And fundamentally speaking though, we finally captured the Poultry Pup so that he won't escape this time around. So either way, I told you about the fact that this will be the last time to able to actually search for Poultry Pup in terms of the forms within the Dark Moon Quest mode. So yeah, I apologize for my commentary, it's a little bit awkward sometimes. That's just mainly because at this point in time I just for some reason keep on belching sometimes, which I know is incredibly gross, but still. So now we've somehow recovered our front door key now, so this means we can now finally probably enter in the actual mansion itself, because as far as I'm aware, it's not going to be until likely on Friday, unfortunately, because like I stated before, the uploading schedules has changed slightly, just to ensure for the fact that we'll catch up on multitude of things here and there. So yeah, everything else checks out there basically. So and I suppose the final thing I want to mention about is that until next year, The Simpsons Tapped Out is officially going to be shutting down forever until in 2025, sometime in January the 25th of 2025. So that's going to be roughly about 9 days after Donkey Kong Country Returns HD was going to be releasing on the Nintendo Switch. So it's going to be sad though. So with that being said, folks, is that we get endings off this point right here. So join me next time for more of Let's Play of Luigi's Mansion 2, aka Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. Is now we're going on to the next mission in Treacherous Mansion, which appears to be Mission E-2 Double Trouble. Oh, this is going to be interesting. So I'll see you guys on Friday. Later, fellas.